Hey, what's up, guys? It's Nicholas Davenport, aka Mr. Mental Muscle. And we're back again with Mental Muscle Mondays. Now, let's talk about motivation. Now, I guess motivation is probably the most overused term when it comes to mental health, performance, or psychology in general. And what does it truly mean? Now, most people use motivation to say, what does it take for you to keep going? And people say motivation comes and goes. And this is true. But I want to talk about a type of motivation that I've coined. I call it spiteful motivation. I know the term spiteful gets kind of a negative connotation, a negative rap. But the reason I use it is when you have spite, you have some kind of disdain or a chip on your shoulder. And could this always be a bad thing? Sometimes it could be good. And not in the point where you want to get revenge or get back at someone, but the spite could be fuel to say, I want to show that if they thought this and they didn't choose me or want me, that I could use that as fuel to say, you know what? I should work harder. And not in a negative way of like, I'm not good enough, but more so, okay, what I did was good, but it needs to be more, it needs to be better, it needs to be more efficient. I'll use myself for example. I remember one time I reached out to a few podcasts and I was trying to get on their show. I thought we could have some good common ground, them being more of this type of psychology or neuroscience, and I try to stay within my realm. But unfortunately, most of them didn't respond, and the ones that did were like, not right now. But then I would see them doing other content with people in similar fields. And instead of getting mad, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I thought to myself, what do I need to do or where do I need to be? So when I ask these questions, they can look at me and say, you know what? Of course. Now, it could have just been scheduling, maybe. But at the end of the day, I didn't want to just write it off as forget these people because going back to mental health and performance, I'm saying this, you're like, what? You really thought that? That's negative. And maybe it was. But the point is, you can't get rid of these thoughts. It's a matter of how do you utilize them. We're going to have days when we feel like, why didn't you choose me? Or you feel like, forget these people because they didn't see the best in you for whatever reason. That's going to happen. But instead of letting it get you down and say, I'm not enough, because when we talk about self esteem and other issues like that, usually getting written off as I'm not good enough, and that can go a whole type of ways. So when I use the term spiteful motivation, it's more so use that disdain for the feeling you had, maybe not towards the person, but how it made you feel. Oh, you didn't want to use me, or you didn't have time, but I see you still have time for other things. It could literally be just nothing, or it could be the fact that they didn't respect your value, and that's not a bad thing. Sometimes we have to step our game up. And in sports, sometimes we got to prove even more that we belong on the team. In business, we have to do more work to get the promotion we want. So that's why I don't see this as a bad thing, because mental health and mental performance is all about how you adapt to stressors, anxieties, worries that happen in real everyday life. So we try to write this off as, oh, that's wrong way to look at it. It's like, that's not being realistic. I'm big on realism. Sometimes you have to be optimistic and look for the better side, but sometimes you have to be realistic and say, maybe I wasn't enough, but I can, keyword, I can get better. Because the minute you think that you can't get better and it's just internally you, that's when you miss. That's when you fail. But if you can say, you know what, I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna grow, I'm gonna be critical internally and see where I could get better. Because sometimes you do need to get better. Sometimes that is it. Or sometimes you are good enough and they just missed out, but you have to do a little bit more to get their attention. I couldn't have gotten where I'm at today working with military, top athletes, schools, corporations, if I didn't go a little bit further than everyone else. Because if you do what you always done, you're gonna get what you always got. And being the best requires everything you have. So take that in consideration. I hope you guys go off to a good start to your week. And as always, get your mind right.